Hello, everyone. I'm so pleased to be with you. On behalf of EO Club, I would like to thank you for joining us for this webinar. I am an artist, born member of EO Club, and I have the pleasure to host this event. I work for Skillsoft Group, global leader in corporate digital learning. Through our platform, more than 19 million users learn soft skills, legal and ethics compliance topics, and of course, new technology like software engineering, cloud, and cyber topics. To present EU Club in few words, EU Club is an association. Our goal is to bring innovation to various players globally. We have been doing it for more than 20 years in 7 countries. Today, we welcome several companies to talk about cybersecurity trends, and innovative solutions. So let's start with Madame Sagarika Ghost, PhD doctor, product owner of Pink. Hi, Sagarika.
Hi, so I'll start sharing my screen now, if you guys are okay.
Yeah, yes, of course. And could you please explain in 10 minutes what the quantum computing technology and also what is the risk for IT and cyber security department? And it's as you wish.
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, it's taking time to download. Are you able to see my screen?
No stress, perfect. You have 10 minutes.
Okay, great. So thank you for such kind words. So before moving forward, I want to ask you one question. Have you ever wished that your computer could solve, complex problems like finding the shortest route, for example, for a delivery truck, or designing new drugs to fight diseases in a matter of seconds? Well,
wow.
With quantum computing, that might be possible. So let's say if you have a database of 1 million items, a classical algorithm would take approximately 1 million steps to search for a specific item. But while Grover's algorithm, it's kind of a quantum search algorithm, it could find it in approximately 1,000 steps. And therefore, we can say that quantum computing provides a speed of approximately 99% over classical search algorithms. So whether you are a science enthusiast, a scientist, or a business owner, or just someone who loves technology, quantum computing is a field that you will definitely want to keep an eye on. Now, moving on to the next slide. Sorry. So who are we and who am I? So let me introduce myself first. I am a quantum product owner of PinQ2, as well as I'm a PhD scholar. My research and work focuses on, quantum cryptography, post-quantum cryptography, and I'm a proud member of PinQ2. So what is PinQ2? PinQ2 stands for Platform for Digital and Quantum Innovation of Quebec in Canada. We are a non-profit organization which has been founded by University of Sherbrooke and a Ministry of Economy, Innovation and Energy department. And it was established in 2020. So what do? We provide a new quantum computing service offered to SMBs, large companies, institutions, and various organizations, that deals with existing high performance computing, deals with artificial intelligence and machine learning services. So yeah, let's dive into this whole new aspect of this shiny term, quantum computing. So today what we are going to say is quantum computing. So quantum computing is basically an emerging technology. It's a new area of or new domain of quantum computer science that harnesses the laws of quantum theory It uses subatomic particles such as electrons or photons. In quantum state, it's called qubits. It uses various principles of quantum mechanics like entanglement to create new ways of computing. So if you compare them with today's computer, they can carry more information at one time. And as I've explained earlier, it's way more faster and generate more accurate results. So today we are going to look into latest trends in quantum computing. What are they a threat or not? If so, how PinQ2 addresses them, and what do we offer as a solution? So there are several exciting trends and developments happening right now. One of the biggest challenges in quantum computing is to build machines with enough qubits to solve real world problems. That's the main challenge we are facing. However, researchers are making progress in this area, and the number of qubits in quantum computers is increasing rapidly. IBM recently announced they have built this largest quantum computer named dubbed Osprey. It has like 433 qubits. And as well as Google has also announced that it has achieved this quantum supremacy. What does that mean? It means that their quantum computer can perform a task that a classical computer could not complete within a reasonable time frame. And these achievements have sparked a lot of interest in this field of quantum computing, and therefore it has encouraged researchers to explore the potential of this technology further. And therefore, they are building these quantum sensors, quantum chips, quantum cloud services, and they're applying these hardware and software quantum settings on various domains, ranging from weather forecasting to cryptography, new drugs, finding new drugs efficiently, optimizing transportation routes, and so on. So the real question is quantum computing a threat? Well, the boom of quantum computing comes with a threat to our current crypto system. So, for example, the Wiley RSA algorithm, which is a public key crypto system, which is widely used, it has been theoretically broken by Shor's algorithm, a type of quantum algorithm. And when this so as of now, a fully fledged quantum computer has not been built yet. However, based on estimation, such a quantum computer will be used to launch attacks on all our symmetric and asymmetric crypto systems, which are the core of our industrial security standards. And therefore, it is very much important to prepare for this threat now, because suppose given there is an attacker who has already cracked all these algorithms and have not publicly announced that they are able to break these encryption schemes, that can cause a huge problem and have a catastrophic effect. So how PinQ2 addresses these problems? Well, we are converting the theory of quantum computing and cryptography to practical. How? We are collaborating with Numana that is planning to launch its first quantum communication network by optical fiber in Sherbrooke. So basically, it will be an open testbed for the industry and the research institutions. And PinQ2 is going to operate the first quantum computer of not only in Quebec, but also in Canada. So this is based on, the system will be based on IBM's Quantum System 1 architecture, and we will have the access to 127 qubits. So this hybrid infrastructure, it will provide secure and autonomous service to various Quebec-based companies, as well as other companies outside Quebec as well. And as a part of our innovation lab, we are building research kits and tools that targets various QML algorithms, the quantum machine learning algorithms, quantum cryptography, post-quantum cryptography, which will provide unique solutions detecting quantum attacks as well as preventions. It will not only act as intrusion detection system, but also a prevention system against any possible intrusion or data leakage based on quantum attacks. And we are also providing and targeting to build a quantum workforce, a community workshop, training, mentorship programs, internships, co-op programs on various quantum cryptography protocols and QML algorithms that will include, hands-on research projects on various case studies. We are also collaborating with various industries and academia like Numana, IBM, Pascal, University of Waterloo, University of Ottawa as well. So overall, what do we offer? Overall, PinQ2 is offering a hybrid computing ecosystem based on quantum and classical algorithm. You will have an access to quantum infrastructure. This will serve as a place for experimentation to test the applications of quantum computing and will include various quantum expertise. And we are also aiming to train the next generation of professionals to support quantum tech ecosystem and to fight against any kind of quantum attacks. So thank you so much for listening and being so patient. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Sagarika. It will perfect. So now we have a vision from an investor. We are so pleased to be with Fernando Martins. Fernando Martins is a cybersecurity director of Bright Pixel Capital. So, Fernando, are you here?
Hi, everyone. Let me just try and share my screen.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go quickly for on an introduction about who I am, who I work for, and then I'll share a few ideas, a few things that I believe are some key trends that we are observing. So first of all, I'm Fernando Martins. I'm a member of the IE Club on the chapter of Lisbon. I was formerly a cybersecurity engineer, so I worked more than 20 years for large corporates in France. And I was suggested one day to move to the investment area, and I jumped, and I found it fascinating to be at the contact of innovating company. Just not to get you bored, I'll go quickly through a few slides if you wish. Give me a second. I need to stop sharing again. So meanwhile, I'll just reopen the presentation. Somehow it has crashed. So I work for Bright Pixel Capital, which is the investment arm of the group Sonai, which is a Portuguese group. It's a conglomerate in Portugal. Basically, the core job of that conglomerate is retail, but eventually they have also a telecom operator. It's around 7.7 billion turnaround, 48,000 employees. And as part of the investment team, we have the mandate, and we are fully free to invest in company wherever in the world they are, and into multiple segments. So the first one is cybersecurity, which I'm leading. We also have the retail tech investments, the digital infrastructure, and everything that's related to emerging tech. So we have many investments. We have many investments in cybersecurity around Israel, but we're not only focusing in the Israeli environment. Maybe someone can open the presentation and somehow I can't get to open mine. I don't know if Laure could open the presentation and.
If Laure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you move next, I'll tell you when to stop. Go ahead. Go ahead. Next. And stop here. So just before going to the core content. So we have been working since 2014 in the area. We have a few investments. So as I mentioned, in Israel. So some of you might, for the Israeli teams that are around. So some of you might know Reblaze, Cyber6Skill, SafeBridge, and we also have invested in 2 unicorns. One of them is being Arctic Wolf, that has been a little bit stuck because of the market conditions pre-IPO. So now the core of the presentation. So moving on the next slide. So the trends and the innovative solutions. So again, moving on. What I would like to start with something that is quite I believe it's the starting point. So I took this image just to show that it's every board's top of mind that we are vulnerable to attacks, and it's been increasing all those years. And I think it comes with a all the technological evolutions, right? So every single day, at least every single week, there's a new breach, there's a new attack, and it's not only about financial services; it's everyone. There are hospitals that are targeted, whether it's in France or the US. It's not only about the US; it's really everyone is targeted nowadays, and all those boxes, they represent breaches for now than a decade, and you see that it's accelerating. It's getting enormous each time. There's more and more data leakage, and personal information has been leaked around. So, and if you start considering having a close look at what is happening behind, there's multiple reasons. Obviously, there's people that have bad intentions, and it's still around hacking, right? And the threats are trying to do whatever they want to break into the systems for different motivations. But there's also the human factor here. So any employee that will just click on a link, that would be something that will drive an attack. Everyone that is living behind a misconfiguration on the cloud system will have a breach open. And those are a few symptoms or a few reasons, right? You have also bad development practices. So it brings loads of opportunities for hackers to get into the premises and bring those on the news. If you look then on the next slide, part of the solution is innovative companies, innovative smart, and you see there's loads of them, right? Every time there's a new technology, and as Agarika talked about quantum computing, every time there's something new, there's a bunch of benefits, but drawbacks as well. It's always a double-edged sword, and there's a future. I'm not going to detail that slide, just for you to see that, yeah, the landscape of innovative solutions around cybersecurity is quite enormous, and it's from time to time hard to navigate. But at the end of the journey, we have the bad and the evil, right? We are trying to leverage the blockchain, but there's someone exploiting it. We have the IoTs to help us going to to enhance our manufacturing capabilities, but then there's exploit on SCADA environments. We want to develop new tech, but we open vulnerabilities, and it's hard. And on top of that, we also have the compliance. We need to comply to regulations. We know GDPR, SOC 2, FSI. There's thousands, I mean, hundreds, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of compliance we need to abide by, and it gets the job tough when you're a company, and even if you're a startup, you need to comply to many things all around the place, right? Next. So you've seen that landscape of startups. Obviously, that landscape is financed by investors, right? And what we can say is that, and that's just the numbers from 2018. It's driving billions of dollars. And even if today the global economics are slowing down, there's still some appetite to invest, right? Because this is a mission critical. Protecting the companies against that kind of cyber threat is something fundamental. Next slide. Right. So if you look at, so we spoke about quantum, right? This is something to bear in mind, but I strongly believe this is not for today. Well, we still have some years to get it into the corporate environments, etc. But we need to have it in mind, right? What we are seeing today is that the world is changing again. There's loads of tensions all around the place. Russia, Ukraine, potentially China, US, Taiwan, and potentially more again. And they're leveraging cyber attacks as a weapon. And we have side effects. So being part of the NATO in Portugal or in France, we would be victims. So that's the first point. The second one is we're struggling around the budgets in the companies. We are reducing the budgets, but we still need to fight against all those threats. So the global macroeconomics are not helping the cybersecurity practitioners, and they need to be much more creative. They need to reduce their costs, and they need to go through automation. There's another thing that is still to bear in mind is that with COVID, and it's still, I mean, it's not new, but it's been since 2020 like this, we work from home more and more, right? So we don't have any, there's no that castle boundaries that we had in the past. 10 years ago, we spoke about the castle model. It's been exploded. We don't have boundaries anymore. We work from personal computers. We work from home. We work from wherever we want. And it's hard, and it's really hard to master that perimeter. And last but not least, and this is really something that is happening at the moment, there is AI. All those large models that everyone is adopting. I mean, if I look around my peers, everyone is using ChatGPT on everything. And everyone is leaking personal information to ChatGPT at the same time. It's a fantastic tool, but at the same time, we're like kids in the kindergarten today. We're playing with technology, we don't master it, and we're leaking data. And what happened, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, there was a breach on ChatGPT. There was a vulnerability, it was a breach, right? So I believe those elements are really transforming the way we see cybersecurity. So next slide.
Less 1 minute.
Yeah. So this having said, so there are key topics that, at least from an investment perspective, are really interesting to me. No, some of them are not new, but we still have a close look into that. So cloud security is one of them, and everything that's related to the misconfiguration. How do companies are evolving to the cloud more and more, and if you look at huge corporates, they're multi-cloud plus hybrid. They have their networks that are paired with the cloud, and then you just need one misconfiguration, one given cloud to do cloud hopping, and to have a massive breach. Data security, data is everywhere. We are sharing data. We need to be as InfoSec practitioners. Doesn't need to be a business enabler, and then the companies need to be supported and protected at the same time. Obviously, the core game is human workforce. We used to say, yeah, well, the problem is between the chair and the keyboard, and it's a bad way to say that. We need to enhance the human workforce and help them to understand what they do. Whenever they share something, they need to be advised that they're doing potentially something that is bad for the company. I mentioned again the perimeterless enterprise. We're at home. The attack surface has evolved, and I think we'll talk about that later on as well. It has evolved quite dramatically, and it's tough to get to know what is happening. Everyone will get breached one day. That's the bottom line. So there's something really fundamental as well, is that there needs to be a strong scrutiny about resilience and recovery. How do we recover? How the mission critical assets can be recovered quickly? And last but least, and I believe this is my favorite of the moment, I'm really excited and curious about the way AI will transform things, right? Is it possible that threats will use AI to get into the companies? I believe so. So we need to be careful around that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Fernando. It's an amazing presentation.
Sorry, Fernando, you have a question from Philip Jones?
Yeah, tell me. Hi,
It's
Philip.
in the questions.
And the Q&A. The question is, are your investment focused on solutions that support primary cloud on-premise data centers or some combination of this platform? Please.
Yeah, I'm not. So we're not today restricted into the target platforms. I believe we still need to go through to both of them, right? We're still in an hybrid mode, I believe, on-prem and cloud. And if you look at some topics such as forensics, there's still some massive things to do on the on-prem as well.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So now, to understand the changes around cloud security and sovereignty, we have with us Damien Riard, Cloud Security Specialist Senior Director of Oracle EMEA. So please, Damien.
Thanks a lot, Manuel, and hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you today. So you can directly put the next slide if you want. So I'm sure you all heard of Oracle, and most probably when you hear Oracle, you think database, right? Or maybe you think Java, or maybe you think ERP solutions, or plenty of big solutions that we have. But are you thinking cloud? Have you heard of OCI? OCI means Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and today it is the youngest hyperscaler in the market. young doesn't mean not strong. And we have today more than 40 regions everywhere in the world. And we have a lot throughout EMEA. And our deployment technology for cloud, because we had to deploy a lot of data center very rapidly to keep up with, the others very well-known hyperscalers, is quite unique. And today it allows us to deliver all of our cloud services, not just a subset, all of our cloud services in various different shapes and forms, all the way to delivering the equivalent of public cloud directly in our customer's data center. And today I'd like to speak a bit about the challenges when it comes to security in the cloud, specifically, not on-premise, and how we can help actually to tackle that. So like Manuel said, I'm Damien Rilliard, and I work in the EMEA CISO office. Our mission there is to make sure that our customers leverage all the security which is built-in OCI, and that a lot of people might not be aware of, to protect themselves against the current threat landscape out there. Next slide, please. And I'd like to start by that. Fernando showed, a slide with the breaches, and I mean the breaches grow bigger and bigger, right? And there's one important thing when you hear about a breach of millions or billions of records. Usually those records are coming from, guess what? A database. And usually today they're coming from a database in the cloud. And that's important to think about it, because we said it previously, the old castle model, which means a perimeter security in a perimeter-less world, doesn't work that much anymore. But it's still what the CISO teams, the security, the SecOps team by our customers focus on a lot. And I'm not saying they should not do it. I'm just saying that this is not enough today to actually protect against the kind of threat we have. Of course, number one threat today is still ransomware. The damages that it does, all the way to having real impact in the real world, like preventing hospitals to actually cure patients and a lot of other ones, is absolutely huge. Lots of businesses just can't run after a big ransomware attack. And if they do, it's at a very high cost. One that is a couple years old and which is really very advanced and with a very large blast radius is all the threat linked to supply chain vulnerabilities, because you do one hack and you actually affect thousands and thousands of customers out there. Since the geopolitical risk, not to mention what's going on today in Ukraine, etc., is really taking a different turn since 1.5 years. And all of this means that the task at hand for our customers to protect, for every companies out there to fight against, is just absolutely huge. And when you add to that the fact that there are way not enough cybersecurity labor out there, it's really complex to counter that. Next slide, please. So one thing you might not know about Oracle is that if you look at each and every one of those little icons, Oracle is providing all of that, meaning all of those are cybersecurity solutions that are developed by Oracle and that are integral part of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. By integral part, what I mean is that for the most part, if you subscribe to our cloud, so to do, what you do in the cloud, right? So having access to storage, to compute, to PaaS, to SaaS, you get those services. It's all integrated. It comes at no extra cost. And I want to underline a few of those, and especially in the world of startups, because I work with very small startups all the way to governments and very large multinational companies. It makes a huge world of difference when you adopt a cloud and you can use all the security features you need to ensure your side of the cybersecurity shared responsibility model, and when you have to pay for everything. But it's what paying is one thing, but it's also how do you deploy it. And everything you see here is actually a service. So think of it as SaaS security services, meaning you don't have to deploy them, you don't have to upgrade them, you don't have to patch them, you don't have to make sure they're highly available, etc., etc. We do that for you. And so, for example, of course, you need to prevent any attacks like DDoS attacks are a huge deal in the cloud. That is built in, you don't have anything to do. In the monitoring side of things, we embed threat intelligence, unique threat intelligence feeds like that coming from our own threat intelligence team producing that threat intelligence, but also threat intelligence from very well-known actors like CrowdStrike, for example, and of course, all the OSINT available out there. And we natively embed it in CSPM solutions like CloudGuard and Threat Detector that are once again natively integrated in the cloud. All the tools like vulnerability scanning, like hardware-based root of trust, even all the way to confidential computing. Sagarika was, explaining the disruption that quantum computing will bring to encryption. Before this comes in, the important thing is, do I really encrypt everything I put into the cloud? Some of our competitors announced just like 1 month ago that, starting now, all the storage buckets will be encrypted. This has been a reality for the past 7 years in our cloud. And when you go into Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, all data is encrypted at all time. And the only time where it might not be encrypted is when it is in use. And in order to counter that, you need confidential computing. Well, in OCI, if you want to select a confidential computing shape, it's going to cost the same as a non-confidential computing shape. So that's really important as well. Next slide. Of course, like I said earlier, largest breach come from database. We have very unique services there helping you out that are at no cost, like Oracle Data Safe, that can help you identify your sensitive data, protect them by masking them when they're not in production databases. So everything around dev, around QA, et cetera, test. And for all your production databases, everything you need around protecting data in the database can be found right there. So really important. Today, once again, when you look at the big data breaches, it's always something like that happening. We know the techniques, you need to apply them. DataSafe gives you a unique visibility into the status of all your databases, whether you're at risk or not. And if you're at risk, what you should do to close the gaps. Next slide. We talked about it a bit earlier, compliance, regulatory needs, a huge headache for our customers, for everyone. We manage more than 70 compliance programs around the world, global as well as very localized by industries, by regions. This is something absolutely key to help out customers to meet those compliance programs. We have, for example, our last yearly event, I presented with a small startup in France who presented how they reached ISO 27001 in a matter of a few quarters, leveraging all those built-in security tools. And from their CEO, without the fact that all those tools were already deployed, simple to use, and integrated on a cost point of view, they wouldn't have been able to do that in such a short period of time. And last slide, please. The most difficult part is often to start. You'll get those slides. You have there a lot of links in order to make sure that in a perimeterless world, you can govern your identities and your access. You have the tools to assess and manage your risk, and you can deploy the best practices out there, starting with a CIS, Center for Internet Security Landing Zone, and all our reference architecture. one last thing you can do is connect to cloud.oracle.com, and you'll actually get access to what we call our always free tier, especially for all the startups out there. You can just register and you get resources for free without limits, actually, as long as you use them. Very interesting to start experimenting with all of this.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much. It's very, very clear. Now we know the context. I propose to have a look for some disruptive cyber solution. We have 5 guests today, and each company will have 4 minutes to present their vision and their activities. And I'm also the timekeeper. So now my first question is for Eran Ozel, co-founder and chief revenue officer of OvalSec. Hello, Eran.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, thanks. So, Eran, how can a company determine its external attack surface, and what step can be taken to reduce it?
So I was thinking maybe I will present first and when
Yeah, sure.
So I'll try to share my screen, give some overview of what exactly we're doing, and then I'll be happy to answer a question. I hope it will be in the context. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. So what OvalSec does is help organization protect that external attack surface and actually prevent targeted attacks. Now, I want to start by looking at the state of cyber security and some interesting facts. So when you look at cybercrime today, it's a $8 trillion industry. This is like the largest, let's say, economy after US and China. When you look at the cost of a cyber breach, we're talking about between $3 to $20 million, depends on the type of the attacks and the size of the company. And when you look at this screen with all these facts and you survey C-level executive, you discover that the confidence is very low, and there is no surprise because those metrics are, off the chart and it's look very bad. And when we add to it the skills shortage that is now around 3 million jobs and is going to grow, we understand also why everyone is talking about security as a mission critical and something that need to focus on. Now, moving to OvalSec, our mission is to help organizations protect their entire external attack surface holistically, enabling them to prevent targeted attacks. And the reason this is so important is because targeted attacks are responsible for the highest risks to organization and highest damage among all other types of attacks. Now, focusing on targeted attacks, let's start understanding first why it is important and why we need to change what we're doing. And the main reason is that most enterprises today are exposed to targeted attacks. Some surveys say 93, some said all of them. But the main reason that we see that we need to focus on is that the attack surface is changing and growing all the time, with changes in on-prem, work from home, public cloud, SaaS application. And this is a big challenge to the small and fully utilized security team. And they're usually struggling with visibility and control over this ever-changing attack surface. And this is exactly what gives the attackers the advantage. All they need is to scan you on a daily basis, find some unsecure assets, and start either stealing data or launching their attacks. Now, why we need to do something urgently now? Because when you look at the attacker side, you see that the attackers already in the organization. The attacks are growing very fast. They are not discovered in time. So usually you discover an attack with the damages already done, and you get a ransomware request or the data is sold on the dark web. And as I already mentioned, there is very high recovery cost. And you can see here extreme examples, but usually it's in the high tens of millions of dollars. So what is the solution? What we should do? So organizations need to change a little bit their mindset and be more proactive. They need to apply a strategy that on top of dealing with CV patching and vulnerability management will also add a layer that will focus on critical and exploitable weaknesses and risks and move it into fast track for remediation. And in order to do that, you need also to understand the attacker perspective. So you will understand what is going to be attacked next, because if we just look at vulnerabilities and vulnerability management, there are probably thousands of different vulnerabilities in your environment. You don't want to start dealing with that. You want to deal with the one or two that are already breachable and attackers are using it to run their attacks. And in the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, less than 1 minute now.
So in the end of the day, you need to answer two questions. Do I secure all my assets? And do I have any critical exposure in my environment? And this is why OvalSec can help you. We build a cloud-based, fully automated and continuous external attack surface protection platform, meaning you don't need to connect to anything. It's fully automated, no people are involved, and it will run on a daily basis and give you critical alerts that are exposed in your environment. It is focusing only on those critical things that are not discovered by other defensive solutions, and basically complement your defensive stack, firewalls, WAF, antiviruses, and others. And basically, it's act like a continuous red team that enable you to be effective and enable you to be accurate and prevent those attacks. So this is basically a little bit of a mind shift in the strategy that we're helping organization adopt. So this is like in a high level.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Aaron. And now let's hear Avi Bartov, CEO of Menaya.
Thank you.
Your time and 4 minutes.
And 4 minutes. So I will share my screen with you.
Yeah. Here we are.
Here we are. So hi, everybody. My name is Avi Bartov. I am Menaya CEO and co-founder. Menaya is a company registered in the US, in Europe, in France, with an R&D department in Israel. So we always understand and we always receive this kind of response. My business is too small and nothing can happen to me. So that's really the wrong. Somebody mentioned before that it's not question today when a company, if a company will be attacked, but when. So every company today, especially SMB, lack of personnel, lack of budget, lack of knowledge, are the main target of the company. We saw that 70% of all the SMB today are the target, and 1 on 2 are closing the door after a cyber attack. So it's a very dramatic economic consequence. The second part, or the second fact I would like to share with you, is from where those attacks are coming from. And we saw today that more than 73% of all the cyber attacks are coming from outside the company. And that's exactly the mission of Menaya, to provide a solution to the SMB market and to provide a solution against external attack. So what Menaya is doing, we are combining an automatic continuous solution that have the capacity to anticipate cyber risk, to detect them, to analyze them, to monitor them on a regular basis in order to minimize the risk for the company. How are we doing that? With 2 layers. One is a cyber writing, a mapping of all exposure, potential risk that a company can have from the external on the net and the darknet. And the second layer on the web part, where we create a virtual ethical hacker that mimical hacker behavior. So what the cyber writing is doing? The cyber writing will create a mapping, a scoring of all potential risks that the company can have from the net and the darknet. We're using more than 20 categories, 20 indicators in order to provide those information. We are analyzing all those information, and we are going to tell you what is the percentage that your company, based on everything that we saw, on all the weakness that we found, what is the chance that you will be attacked by a ransomware, or what is the chance that you will be attacked by a data breach? We are going to provide you a rating. Are you a A or a B or a C or a F? So now you understand where you need to put more effort in order to secure yourself and provide the best solution. And we are also going to look at the compliance. Somebody before spoke about compliance. We are going to analyze all the compliance reports that are the EPA for the medical care, the GDPR, the PCI for online business, and we are going to provide you all those information with a very detailed remediation with graphical dashboard. So that's the first part, a very high level detection on the net and the dark net. The second part is a vulnerability and malware detection, where we created our own virtual hacker technology, simulating a hacker behavior that will friendly attack your website in order to find weakness, application vulnerability, signature vulnerability, malware, and the result will be a report that will show you where you have vulnerability, what type of vulnerability, what are the consequences if a hacker will take advantage of those vulnerability, and of course, what are the remediation that need to be provided in order to close those vulnerabilities.
Less 1 minute.
The advantage of the Menaya solution is that there are nothing to do. We just need the URL www.menaya.com, and that's the only thing that we need. No software development, no IT security expertise, no installation, no setup. Anything done from on the side is a turnkey solution. So to finish, what are the 4 key benefits of Menaya? A proactive, anticipating risk solution, a complete turnkey solution that requests nothing from the customer point of view, an automated cyber monitoring solution, and tailor-made report that need to be provided to 2 audiences that are reading 2 different reports. Management need graphic report to understand very quickly the situation, and very detailed remediation report for the technical team. That's the Menaya solution.
Okay, superb. In your opinion, what is the best advantage of the cyber writing? Just in few words.
The most difficult is to find those 2 words. I think that mapping all the external exposure, providing you a grade, and providing you the capacity to anticipate risk before hacker take advantage of it.
Okay, super. So thank you, Avi. For the next company is Gyptom, and we have Matthew Albom, the Vice President. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, can everyone hear me here?
Yes.
Perfect. So shalom and hello and bonjour, bonsoir. It feels like the Eurovision has come a couple of days early. So hello, everyone. I am Matthew, as presented from Gitpo. Let's get the presentation up and running. And I'm here to talk to you a bit about something which is really a new subject area known as secure configuration management. And in the 4 minutes that we've been given today, I'm going to try to explain to you a bit about what it is. It's actually a new area. And we've heard a lot about vulnerabilities from the other speakers. We've heard a lot about cloud from the other speakers. But I'm going to actually talk to you about something that has been impacting organizations for the last 20 years, where there hasn't actually been an efficient and reliable solution to solve these cyber challenges. And we believe every organization should think like a hacker, because we believe that if organizations can think like hackers and have tools that give them the visibility of what hackers see when trying to break into their platforms, we believe that organizations can actually be 1 step ahead of the hacker and prevent cyber attacks. And let's have a look, before we get into maybe what Gitpool does, And I'm going to talk about endpoints, PCs, servers, devices, not the cloud today. Maybe people think it's a well-known subject area and well used, but actually what we find is people have antivirus, people have vulnerability tooling and patch management, but when it comes to the configuration side of it, organizations only really have configuration management tools, and there doesn't seem to be secure configuration tools on the market to actually make sure that those configurations are secure. And typically that is done today manually by organizations. And that manual process is inefficient, takes a long time, costs a lot of money, and has a lot of challenges for organizations. So what is the difference between a vulnerability and a misconfiguration? Vulnerabilities are about known software bugs in software components that cause a security risk. And the vendor, they will need to provide a fix or a patch in order for you to remove that risk. But when it comes to misconfigurations, it's the operator that actually needs to make the change in order to be secure, whereas it's not dependent on getting anything from the vendor. And we're talking about the classic things that happen all the time, those human errors. We see so many big difference between perception and reality. How many times has people said, if only we had known? Or they've gone to Google and assumed that Google was right on how to configure the system. Or changing those default settings from your Windows or Linux machine. Or policies that are used to actually manage configurations on devices. If you have worked with those before, you will know that Microsoft's group policy doesn't ever show you if a policy is applied. There's no way of knowing, and we found that 10 to 20% of policies don't get applied for different reasons. And what about those vulnerabilities I just mentioned before, where there is no patch, where there is no fix from the vendor? How do you remove that risk without removing the application? So why do we care about all of this? Well, in the last 6 months or so, many organizations have started saying misconfigurations is probably the main reason why you're going to suffer a cyber attack. And the fact that there's no automated tooling in the market means that it's very difficult for organizations to do it successfully. They're always playing catch up. And in fact, Marsh McLennan, who's very well renowned in the US, basically did a report last month, and they came back and found that the best investment that any CISO can make to reduce cyber attack today, the best value for their money is with automated hardening. And that is exactly what Gitpool does. It does two very clever things. Not only do we detect misconfigurations continuously, but we solve the manual problem of fixing it. We automatically remediate misconfigurations without causing an impact. So it means all these long, expensive, time-consuming projects that last months and months are suddenly converted into a single button press that within 60 minutes, any misconfiguration can be resolved on hundreds of thousands of devices, and it doesn't break anything. There is no impact. We found a clever way of detecting whether there'll be an impact ahead of time. And we've, of course, automated it as well. So as you add new devices, it will self-heal and provide all those end-to-end capabilities that are needed. And the final
1 minute now.
And the final slide, there we go, Manuel, I'm doing good for timing. And the final slide is that most security products don't provide an ROI. So when the CISO needs to get funding for it, it's really an insurance policy with no guaranteed ROI. But because Gitpool is replacing what's been done manually very badly by organizations, we can actually measure and calculate how much time they've saved by using the automation. And you can see in this screen, this is the management report. This customer of 4,500 devices has saved over 5 man-years of effort by using Gitpool because it's automated and they don't have to do it manually instead. There we go. Thanks very much. I'm happy to take
very instructive, very instructive. Thank you so much. I have 3 questions, if you can give me an answer in 1 minute maximum, but
I'll try.
It's a just challenge. How is Gitpool able to automatically remediate without causing an impact?
Right.
This is my first question. The second is, Could you give me some example of with no misconfiguration? Not so easy to say that. And the third, it's what device do you support?
Okay, so the first question is the most important one because nobody, when they hear my presentation, no one believes it's possible because this has been the biggest struggle in IT.
Yeah.
And the way we do it is through a very simple concept, it's usage. So when we know that a device is misconfigured, we can also determine whether the device has been making use of that misconfiguration or not, or in the last, let's say, 90 days. And so if it hasn't been using that misconfiguration in the last 90 days, you can easily switch it off or shut it down without an impact because you know it's not being used. So we basically get visibility of usage information. And the second question, and which I will jump connected to that, is I'll give you an example of a simple misconfiguration that all organizations are struggling to fix today, which is something known as the print nightmare, which is around the ability that anyone can remotely take over any device due to the Windows print service in a computer. And with Git pull, not only can we detect it, but we can shut it down immediately, but we know whether the device has been used for printings or has printers connected automatically. And so therefore we're able to know whether that device can be shut down safely. So that's an example of one. Another one is Log4j. Many organizations struggled with Log4j a year ago. And again, it's something that we can actually fix without patching, which is something which is quite unique. And what devices? Well, yeah. We support Windows, we support Linux, we support Mac, and later this year we'll be adding network devices and IoT devices. So we're expanding devices very, very fast. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much. For the next, we have Mehran Galis, CEO of Skillstel. Please introduce yourself and your solution, of course.
Hello, thank you very much. Nice to be over here. Thanks for having me. My name is Mehran Galis. I'm the CEO of Cyberspace. And what we do is we automate security compliance. Now, being past auditor at Ernst & Young, maybe you can go to the next slide. I will just a brief introduction about myself. So today I'm the CEO of Cytel, and I'm passionate about security and compliance. Before of that, I was a manager at the technology and cyber risks department at EY. So I was managing engagement and security compliance for companies around the world, in Israel, in the United Kingdom, and in the United States, focusing on the technology sector for companies that need SOC 2, SOC 1, ISO 27001, GDPR, and more. Also, I'm participating as part of the AWS Loft Accelerator and Forbes Technology Council. I think that's enough about me. Bottom line, I was managing lots of audits, both as an auditor and afterwards as a compliance officer. And with that in mind, I just like this quote that if you think compliance is expensive, you should try non-compliance. I think that's applied for everyone, for startups that would like to close deal, for startups, enterprises, organization that needs to be in compliance with local and international laws and regulations when it comes for information security and privacy. So bear that in mind. I think that compliance is important, both on the business perspective, but also on the security and risk perspective. Now, next slide, please. Every SaaS company in the world needs security compliance, not only SaaS, to be honest. We focusing on SaaS, but actually every company in the world that's including insurance, banks, enterprises in multiple disciplinary industries, they need compliance because today we see the emerging of new technologies. We see companies that migrating into cloud environments. The use of software and cloud-based platforms is on the rise. And companies, first of all, smaller organizations need to enable sales. They need to build trust in their companies because they might have an incredible product, but these organizations have a strict policy when it comes for the vendors' acceptance in order to understand what's the actual risk. So they need to build trust in order to close deals, to boost the growth, to penetrate into new markets worldwide, And compliance, security compliance, that's a great tool for them in order to prove that they're taking the extra mile when it comes for security and compliance within their company. Next slide, please. So what is security compliance? On essence, very briefly, security compliance might be any certification, attestation report, regulation, or standardization when it comes for security and compliance. In the past, it was based on countries mainly. Then we see a shift where it was moving also based industries. For example, the PCI DSS is relevant for the payments and cardholders industry, mainly financial and industry. You have the HIPAA and iTrust relevant for the healthcare and more. But being compliant is a huge pain. It's time consuming. Now the company not necessarily have a governance, risk, and compliance manager on a full-time employment in the company. So that means someone else will need to take the lead in managing their compliance. Who's that's going to be? If they have a CISO, that's going to be the CISO, which that's also great. If they don't have a CISO, that might be the CTO, the VP R&D, the Chief Operation Officer, and etc. That's varies.
Let's 1 minute now.
Super complicated, and they have tight deadlines. Next slide, please. So what we do, we know how to manage, smartly manage and automate multiple compliance and privacy frameworks for any type of organization. SOC 2, ISO 27001, 27017, 18, NIST, CMMC, PCI DSS, SOC 1, HITRUST, HIPAA, GDPR, CCPA, and more. We automate all of this process. We advising companies and helping them manage their security process, streamline everything into one place. It's like you have a CRM, but only for compliance. Next slide, please.
Yeah, for the conclusion.
What's that?
For the conclusion, because we are a little bit late. So.
All right. So next slide, please. If you want explanation about SOC and ISO, I will be able, you can see on our website. Also, audits are fun. Next slide. What we do is we know how to shift the traditional way of doing audits, as you can see on the screen, which is complex, it's not organized, it's difficult, it's causing delays, to next slide, to this. Very simple to use, single source of truth, automated, and continuous compliance. Next slide. As you can see over here, we actually automate 90% of the workload and help companies get compliant and stay compliant at any size, from scratch, and for enterprise to understand what's their biggest pains and how they can automate the process. Thank you so much. That was just a short introduction about compliance. Lots of materials in our website, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Meran. So the last company, because you are a little bit late, it's Sindal, and we have Uriel Kosayev, founder and chief scientific officer. So Uriel, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Manuel, for presenting me. So my name is Uriel Kosayev. I'm from Sindal, new breed of basically technology and cyber solution for endpoints, servers, and cloud. Okay, let me just share the screen. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so my name is Uriel Kosayev. I'm the co-founder and CSO at Sindal. I'm also the author of the Antivirus Bypass Techniques books, which is a book basically that shows you how to bypass any type of endpoint security solution. I'm a security researcher for more than 30 years. And also, I'm proud that I also a mentor of more than 5,000 students all around the world, teaching them how to basically offensive security and defensive security. So basically, I don't want to spoil your evening, but in the next 4 minutes, I would like to play the prophet of doom. Yeah, and blow the whistle on a well-known secret that cybersecurity researcher community know about. So I will tell you that. So, first of all, before that, let me share with you our values. We at Sindal believe in the power of sharing. our world is progressing and becomes better in sharing new knowledge, sharing new technologies, in innovating new stuff. This is a fact. Our mission is to develop a technology that enables servers and cloud infrastructure to have cyber protection embedded into them from the lowest level by design. One of the biggest problems in today's world is that the new technologies that are emerging every day that are not built in with security by design. And this is what we are here to improve. So in order to answer this question, I must put now my prophet doom hat and basically tell you the truth. So let's digest it in a little bits. So first of all, as we understood, we have new technologies emerge new day. Every day we have new technologies like AI, we have quantum computing, like before one of the speakers already told us. And the problem is that security is not keeping up with those new technologies, and it's a huge problem. And while new technologies are emerging, attackers are getting smarter, deadlier, and much faster. And this is one of the biggest problems here, that security is lacking, but attackers are getting just better and better and better and strong. And this is how actually modern defenders are fighting a losing battle, hopelessly balancing performance, visibility, and usability. They have enormous and huge data sources that they need to manage and to basically tackle the problems and close them, which is impossible, basically. We expect that the digital world is going to experience the cyber equivalent of COVID-19 before the end of this decade. And this is why I basically put the head of the prophet doom, basically. I believe, and we at Cyberspace believe, that people will lose hope on security. They will lose a hope in new technology because they will not have the ability to use those technology in a secure manner. Privacy will be lost, and also critical infrastructures will be continued and be attacked and bombarded daily. So how are we going to do it? How are we going to basically provide the solution? So first of all, we will defend things differently. We will sit on this narrow passage in those servers, in those cloud computing, where all the information is going through. And by intercepting each one of those bits of data, we'll be able to defend and to protect from any kind of cyber threats, even before they actually manifest as a cyber threat.
Last 1 minute.
Thank you. We basically will design the product in the way that it will sit in the hardware level of the computing, and we will have full visibility and with no performance impact on the endpoint or the host, which is a huge and amazing thing. We view differently the type of attacks, and we know how to detect and prevent them before they actually manifest. This is our team, and we'll together make the world a better place. We'll make it more secure, and you can read about each one of us. We are basically experienced entrepreneurs and technology specialists with a lot of experience in the technology field and in the business field. Our vision is to provide transparent and effortless cybersecurity user experience in any smart device by design. Join us for our revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your presentation. It's perfect.
Thank you.
One question for you. What is your go-to-market strategy?
Okay, so our go-to-market strategy is basically want to leverage strategic partnerships with hardware vendors, tier 1 clients, to penetrate the server market, which is on-prem server farms, critical infrastructures, which is estimated to be from $160 billion by 2026, which is a lot, of course. So basically, we are a B2B company, business to business. Our market is divided into 2-tier clients, basically. The first one is enterprise and SMB, who uses servers as their IT infrastructure, and of course, the cloud itself. And the tier 2 clients is basically to work with servers manufacturers, OEMs, okay, such as HP, Dell, Intel, AMD, etc.
Okay, perfect. So cross fingers for you. It's time. So thanks for all the speakers we had with us today. Of course, thanks all the audience for this webinar. Should you have any question or if you would like to receive more information, we are at your disposal, of course. So I wish you all a pleasant evening and see you soon.